Question: if the 10 Commandments are a curse, if they are weak, beggarly, and a yoke of bondage as so many people like to claim, I must ask this question: why do you keep Sunday holy? I mean, after all, if the seventh-day Sabbath is truly a yoke of bondage, why would you set up a mock Sabbath? That is, why would you set up a Sabbath look-alike? Why would you set aside a day of rest and worship, a day where you can refrain from labor, if those principles, as they are contained in the seventh-day Sabbath, are indeed a yoke of bondage? As a matter of fact, why would you support legislation that would keep businesses closed or regulate business hours on a Sunday, if it is true that the Sabbath and its principles are a yoke of bondage? You know, there is a lot more than meets the eye here. For those who are confused, no, the seventh-day Sabbath is not a curse, nor is it weak, beggarly, nor a yoke of bondage. What Paul was talking about in Galatians chapter 4, verse 9 was the same issue with the ceremonial law and ceremonial Sabbaths that the early church had. It was those days, months, times, and years that they continued to observe. But as we know, on this side of the cross, the ceremonial law is done away with. But some tried to suggest that because the Sabbath is a weekly time that deals with the worship of God, that too was done away with. Yet the same people go around and erect a mock Sabbath in its place. You know, there's a reason that the seventh-day Sabbath was placed into God's 10 Commandments. That entire law encompasses the moral duty of mankind, from putting God first, to not committing adultery, to speaking truth and not lies, and to being someone who is a life giver versus being a murderer. Obviously, there were other points as well. The seventh-day Sabbath was embedded in that moral law because it is a moral duty for mankind to come and worship his Creator every single Sabbath day, for the Sabbath is God's day. It is a day that was made for the benefit of man, a day of rest, worship, fellowship, etc. And it cannot be ignored, but with the gravest consequences. Seeing those who promote Sunday as the Sabbath know all this, and as they continue to push for Sunday sacredness and Sunday laws, why do you think they would promote Sunday? Are they arguing from a point of honesty? Well, no. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some people who are trying their best to be honest. People who were tricked and deceived into thinking that Sunday was the Christian Sabbath. But it is to say that the wolves in sheep's clothing are here, that Paul prophesied would be here, doing the work of the enemy of God. This enemy who was prophesied to try to change God's times and laws, that is shown in Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. As it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints in the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a times and dividing of a time. You know, these wolves will lie through their teeth to get you to keep Sunday holy. I mean, ask them. Ask your pastors, teachers, preachers, etc. to prove to you Sunday is the Christian Sabbath. As a matter of fact, get your Bible, open it up, and prove right now that Sunday is the Christian Sabbath. Gather together everyone that you possibly can, every theologian that you possibly know, every person who's been to seminary. Gather each and every single one of them and prove right here and now that Sunday is the Christian Sabbath. Prove exactly what we see in Genesis chapter 2 and Exodus chapter 20. Prove that, number 1, God rested on the first day of the week. Prove number 2, that God blessed the first day of the week. Prove number 3, that God sanctified or set apart for holy use the first day of the week. And prove number 4, that God wrote the first day of the week into his law. Gather every single person you can and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Sunday is the Christian Sabbath. The floor is yours.